What up, y'all? It's DJ Envy.
Flippin' NJ.
That's right, and we're back with another podcast. Now, my dumb ass left the other mic at home, so we only have two mics. So today's special guest is going to have to share your mic.
Yep.
All right, I'm sure you share a lot of things with this person.
Yes, unfortunately, yes.
Yes. Today we're bringing in Jenny. What's your Instagram? Jenny Flips?
Jenny Tips.
Jenny Tips.
Somebody said I should change my name to Jenny Flips.
Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
Right, so Jenny Flips, a.k.a. Jenny Tips, is here. Now, the reason I wanted to bring in Jenny today is because you guys are a couple. You guys started together, and that's a very difficult thing. Starting with your spouse is almost impossible in most couples, relationships, marriages, and everything like that. So I want to ask Jen, we're here talking about couples today and talking about real estate. When he first said, I want to get into real estate, what was your mindset? Were you for him and saying, yes, babe, let's do it, we can do this? Or were you like, no, get a job, motherfucker?
There was a little bit of history with the house flipping, though. Mm-hmm. So not too many people know that we tried when we were really young. Because I got a lawsuit when I was 18. Mm-hmm. Yep. I got $36,000. Mm-hmm. And we tried to buy a house, actually, but we wanted to buy a foreclosure. But back then, it was like this myth, this urban legend that, you know, you had to be in this secret society to get access to this list of foreclosures.
Right.
So me and Caesar, we tried, right?
Yeah, back then it was like they weren't really out promoted like they are now with the different auction websites or different REO agents.
Right.
You had to know somebody in the bank that had the list.
The foreclosure list.
Yeah, and you had to like call, do you have the list?
Right,
Can I see the list? And we tried, and then we looked at our family members for advice and guidance, but nobody in our family owned any homes. And actually, when we try to ask our family members, they wanted to borrow our money instead of really helping us. So that's the kind of guidance that we're trying to give us.
That's your family guy. So what did you do with the $36,000?
So I had pink boots and a pink leather jacket. Caesar dressed pretty good. We ate a lot.
Yep.
I mean, I even tried to buy a car.
We blew through that money like water.
So the money was gone.
It took us a year to eat it up, right? We didn't even buy a car.
Yeah,
like I tried to buy a car, and like the finance dealership, it was always an issue. I had the cash; it was sitting there in the bank, but so little by little, we just ate through it. So then, that's it. Then you got to get back to like I went to work, I went to school. Caesar started doing his illegal shit. So then, I guess the second go around, once we had a kid, that's when we decided to get our shit together and buy a house.
Because we got
a second lawsuit.
That was her first lawsuit before I met her.
Okay.
That dog bit her when she was younger, and then I met her, and she was my sugar mama.
She's sugar mama.
And then we got into a car accident, and we got a lawsuit, and then at the same time, it took like I think back then what was it, like 3 years to get paid.
Maybe like 2 or 3 years. Whatever.
I think now it's crazy. You got to wait like 7 years.
Right.
I think you had a couple losses before that one anyway. But
let's not talk about that right now. But just stick to the subject.
Yeah. So then we had a car accident. We had a lawsuit. Then she got pregnant, and we always said, you know what? At that time, we were living with my parents.
Right.
Because my parents had cable. That's why she was living with me.
Okay, your parents had cable.
Every time we would fight, she would go back to her mom's house, but her mom didn't have cable.
My mother had cable, just not like the
DirecTV
package.
Oh, she had the package.
She didn't have the package. He had Cartoon Network.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't have Cartoon Network.
You didn't have Cartoon Network.
I had that's back with DirecTV when you could get the card with
right.
all the channels.
Yep.
So I was lucky that I had that because she kept on coming back, and so we got she got pregnant, and we always said to ourselves we're not gonna have a kid and not have our own place.
Correct.
And we used that money and we bought our first house.
What's your first house? Now, when did you get into investing and starting to say, you know what, I'm gonna flip houses and I'm gonna have tenants? Was Jen always down where it was one of those things like, let's do this together? Or she was like, nah.
Well, the first house was a 2-family. Yep. Caesar, right when we did the closing, Caesar went away. So I was responsible for fixing the second floor.
Okay.
So our floor, the house was messed up. You can bring it in. The house was messed up regardless because we got it, like, the guy was pretty much losing it and we were kind of saving him from bankruptcy.
Right.
So we got into the house. The first floor that we moved into, we just painted and did like minimal cosmetics.
Right.
And then the second floor was really messed up, not rentable at all. So then that's when I had to fix that second floor with my mom, and then whoever else could help at the time.
Now, did you ever think that doing real estate, this would be your life, or was it one of those things you thought would be a hobby? Did you think that you would
At the time, we were just trying to get by. Like, I wasn't even thinking of it as a career or anything like that. I was just thinking, like, I got to pay the mortgage, so I got to hurry up and rent the second floor.
Right.
And then just, you know, after he came home and he had the right people talking to him in the inside. And then they told him how to actually get started and how to actually, like, make a living and just pop off with real estate.
Now, real estate, when real estate came around and you started to do it seriously and you started to take it, was it very easy at first, or was it difficult, especially with you just coming out of jail?
It was like the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, back then it was the Wild Wild West. It was 100% financing, stated deals. You know, you ain't need to show anything besides your credit.
Right.
It was crazy. So it was pretty easy. You know, I came out. I met a guy. While I was in jail, I met the guy that I look up to. He was coming in. I was coming out. Right. So I taught him how to bid. He kind of mentored me a little bit while he was in there. But then I came out and he was still there. He had to end up doing 7 years. And then when he came out eventually again, 7 years, we hooked up again. And, you know, he helps me with like the next level because he's a big developer.
Okay.
So he's somebody that I look up to whenever I have a question that I need to ask, I go to him. So he inspired me while I was there. I came home. I started doing mortgages. I met a guy in the halfway house that just came out the halfway house and he was doing mortgages. Right. And he was recruiting from the halfway house people to do mortgage. And then I came out, started doing mortgages. I actually ended up doing better than him. And I was doing that for about a year. Then the market collapsed. Then we opened up a restaurant. Me and her didn't know anything about the restaurant. You know, people at the seminar already heard the story, but we did horrible. At that time, we had 2 houses. Both our houses, we couldn't afford them. We weren't making enough income.
The thing is that you just assume, all right, let's open up a business because that's the solution, right? But we had the solution all along.
It was real estate.
The real estate. Now, how involved were you, Jim, when you first started doing it? Were you involved in every deal? You knew everything that was going on?
Well, because everything was in my name, and it still is in my name. So I'm still involved, and I'm like, as far as like paperwork and everything, I know everything, every in and out. Like, he does all the wheeling and dealing and the hustling and the talking to people. But when it comes to like signing and just getting everything on paper, I'm the one that takes care of that.
Now, you know what impresses me about you guys' relationship is if you don't know, you would think, oh, Jen, she does hair, she owns a hair, own salon, but she knows just as much about real estate as Caesar does.
Yeah. But he knows more than me. He definitely knows more than me. But I mean, if there's something I don't know, like, I'll just pick up on it real quick. Even though I have the salon and I'm working over there and I'm just running around doing hair, whatever, when I come home, I have to deal with the real estate. Right. Or like, and if I get up early in the morning, I don't got to be to work till 10, but I wake up at 6 o'clock. After Taylor gets to school, from 7 to 10, maybe from 7 to 12, I'm dealing with real estate. And then after 12 is when I take care of my clients. And then when I get out of work around 8 or 9 and I get home, it's real estate again.
Right. Because if you don't know, if I ever need something done, right, let's say I need an attorney or I need to get in touch with somebody, Caesar will ask, and then if it doesn't get done, I'll be like, Jen, I need this. And Jen will get on the phone and just start spazzing. And then it gets done right away. She will spaz on an attorney, on an agent, on a lawyer, on a contractor.
I enjoy that part of the business.
she gets it.
I'm just like, let me get on the phone. Let me get on the phone.
That's what she says. Give me the phone. And she gets it done. Is there anything that you don't like about the business at all?
No. I like everything about it. Everything, especially like the fixing of the houses, everything.
There's no better feeling when you buy a property and you fix it, and then you get that end result. Right. You know, it's kind of like you're creating. Right. That's how I see it. There's no better feeling than that. To me, my biggest high is just getting a deal done. I love that part. Right. You know, I can't stop.
The only part I don't like is when something is my idea and then it doesn't get done fast enough, then Caesar hounds me. Right. So then I have to remind him of his shortcomings when it comes to real estate. So it's like a tit for tat. That's the only part I dislike about it.
Yeah. Now, also, I notice you're big into helping women. I see if you follow Jen on Instagram, she mentors a lot of women and takes them out looking at homes. Why do you find that so important to help women and to really teach women about real estate?
So a lot of our seminars, I noticed that a majority of them are women, and then they're coming to the seminar, and a lot of the speakers are men. There's only 2 women speakers. Sometimes there's 3 of us if there's a realtor from out of town, but most of the time there's only 2. It's me and Sabine, right? And if my sister talks, or if another realtor from out of state talks, that's one thing. But I think it takes a lot, because when we, like, for instance, for me, I'm in the hair business, right? A lot of the times we go to these shows, even the platform is all men doing hair. Why are they so impressed that men could do hair, and why do they have the stage filled with men doing hair? You know, that's just something that's bizarre to me. But when I see a girl, like a young girl, there was somebody pregnant at the last seminar, and she was just so grateful that I even talked to her. So all the women come up to me, and it takes a lot for someone to come up to you and tell you that, damn, you inspired me today, or so that's the reason why I help them, because they can come up to a guy and say, damn, thank you so much, I took this knowledge, but you know, like, you're just like, okay, thank you, and you're, you know, like, whatever, it's your job, right? But I just take it a little bit more personal because I was already there.
Now, do you feel it's difficult for a lot of women to get into the real estate business? Because it's kind of like, you know, if a woman goes to, let's say, get their car fixed, most people think, oh, she's not going to know anything about this car, I can get over on her. And I think a lot of times women feel that same way, that if I go to try to do it, somebody, the contractor will try to get over on me, the lawyer will try to get over on me, the real estate agent will try to get over on me.
So with women, I think naturally they just follow the guidance of other people. So if I go to someone who's an expert at something, I let them talk, and I let them, you know, I let them do their job.
Right.
Like, that's their job to do. So that's just I think for me, it's just a natural thing to let people do their job. And then sometimes they're just getting the wrong guidance. It could be from a man or a woman. It doesn't matter. People just don't know what they're talking about. But they just want, I don't know, like, people in this profession are just so shady sometimes, especially like realtors. I have one girl who, she was getting a house, a condo.
Right.
And she was at our makeup class, horrible. But I kind of just let her talk, and sometimes you gotta let people make their mistakes too. Like, I can't tell them this is a bad idea every single time, because, no, like, what if somebody would have told me that our first house was a bad idea? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which they did.
Which a lot of people did, but you know, sometimes you gotta just let people be. If she wants to buy a condo, who am I to tell her she shouldn't buy a condo?
Correct.
But anyway, Caesar told her she shouldn't buy a condo, and then getting more into detail, someone told her, oh, you're gonna need to sign this appraisal waiver. Why would anyone tell someone else to sign an appraisal waiver?
Right.
So appraisal waiver is that she's putting such a significant amount of money down that it didn't matter what her loan was gonna be.
Right.
Because the property wouldn't appraise. But since she was putting such a significant amount of money down, then, you know, they were like, let's just make sure she gets the loan,
right?
Because she is putting that much money down. So if it was, let's say she's getting a loan for $200,000, but she's putting 20% down, then she would be putting what, 40,000 down,
right?
So then her loan would be 160. But let's say it didn't appraise for, let's say it only appraised for like 165,
right?
You know, or maybe it appraised at just the cap at 160. So the appraisal waiver makes sure that the deal goes through. So it was kind of just shady in that sense, but I don't know. Like, it's just, I'm there for everybody if anybody has any questions, but it's just I hear so many horrible stories.
Yeah, and we also hear stories.
We can't save everybody.
We also hear stories about all the time about people going to other seminars and spending $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, and opening up credit cards for that and things like that. And we always say, with that amount of money that you put into that seminar, you could have purchased a house by that. And then if it didn't work out, I mean, you lost your money at there anyway. At least you'd have some type of property and you could figure it out for yourself. Now, before you had Lucci and Lucci was picking up the rent, you guys had to pick up your own rent.
We tried.
How was that? How was that experience? You walked
around
picking up.
That's hard because me and Caesar are both softies. So, like, for instance, the second floor at the house that we lived in,
right?
It was sisters. And I'm still friends with them today, but it's like, it's one apartment. Why do I have to pick up rent from two separate sisters? I'm not renting two separate rooms. Y'all should come together and give me the rent together. But no, I had to ask one sister for the rent, and then the other sister would have to give me the rent on another day or the same day. But it was just a hassle. But, you know, that's my fault. I should have said straight from the jump, like, give me the rent together. You guys both live here. Just give it to me together. And we just let a lot of little things like that slide.
Like, pretty much, I'm going to be honest. In the 14, 15 years that I'm doing this, the worst tenants to deal with, or women that are roommates.
Why?
It's just women just don't get along, in my opinion. Like, they fight amongst each other. Then their problems become your problems.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time I went to collect rent from these two girls. They were roommates. And I think it was Mother's Day.
I know the story.
And they're like fighting with each other. And then, you know, they were very urban.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're in front of the house just arguing. Her kid comes up to the one girl and says, "Mom, could I have some ice cream?" And then she's like, "What the fuck you mean if you can have some ice cream? I just gave this motherfucker all my money." And I'm just like, you know, should I buy ice cream for the kid?
Right.
And then the other girl comes out and she's like, "Yo, can I borrow money?" And she's like, "What the fuck you mean you can borrow money? I just gave this nigga my money." And I'm just standing there like, and all the time they used to fight with each other. Every time I went to collect rent. Like, at least the other girls, they would fight too. But this was just ridiculous, bro. It was every time I used to go over there, and then it happened again with another set of women. Mm-hmm. And I just realized, like, it's dealing with women that are roommates, it's tough, man.
It's difficult.
That's hands down, that's the toughest situation I was in. One time, I remember my brother, this lady was calling me. She says, "Your brother's such an animal. He's such an asshole. Look like he talks to me." Whatever. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to do you the favor. From now on, you pay me the rent.
Okay.
Horrible.
Worst idea.
That woman was horrible. She was a horrible tenant. Next thing you know, I'm chasing her. I got to call her. I got to go to her house. You know, every other day, somebody in her family passes away, or she's in the hospital, and I'm chasing her. And then I look at my brother, and I'm like, "I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I screamed at you for this woman, because she's horrible. She's a horrible tenant."
Right. So now, Jen, in closing, for somebody who wants to get into the real estate game, what would you advise that they do? What would you advise the mission that they take?
So anybody who wants to get involved in real estate, whether it's a man or a woman,
mm-hmm.
I would tell them to keep it to themselves.
What do you mean?
So don't ask your family for advice. Don't ask your friends for advice. Just move however you got to move.
Uh-huh.
And talk to the people that you need to talk to. Like, you need to talk to your mortgage person. You need to talk to your credit person. You need to talk to a realtor.
Right.
But don't talk to your boss. Don't talk to your coworker.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, just move and just keep it quiet until stuff pops off, because everybody got an opinion, and then you start to doubt yourself, and then you're just like, "Oh, man, like, I shouldn't have done this. I should have listened." And then you just start to doubt yourself.
Did you always support Caesar when he did the real estate thing? Was it always support, or was it like, nah?
Support. I don't know.
No.
Like, I was very supportive, but I would also yell at him because we had to have money coming in somehow, some way. So when the mortgage stuff wasn't working out, and he's like on the phone cold calling people, telling them that he's an investor and he's interested in this short sale, and he's doing, and I'm just like, "You're such a liar. Get off the phone and go to work."
Right.
Like, just go get a job. And I would even tell him, like, because his dad was a cab driver in New York, so before Uber, obviously, but his dad would come home with cash every day.
Right.
And his dad supported him, his brother, and his wife for however many years. And I'm like, "Yo, you're just gonna have to go get a cab with your dad?"
Right.
She used to tell me, "You're a fucking dreamer. You're just like your father."
It was definitely more abusive.
Definitely more abusive. It wasn't those sweet nothings that you hear there.
No, because his dad
right.
would take him to Alpine
to look at houses,
to look at 40,000 square foot homes on Sundays, and he's like, "When I win the lottery, I'm gonna get this house."
Yeah, that's my dad's. That was his dream when we were younger, that he was gonna win the lottery. And then one time we went to see this house in Clifton,
mm-hmm.
And we used to call it in Spanish La Casa del Coñazo, like the damn, that house is good, right? So it had an elevator.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about early 90s.
Right.
It had an elevator.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
A family room. I didn't know what the hell was a family room. I'm coming from an apartment in Washington Heights.
Gotcha.
Right? So we're looking at this house. And this is one of the things that kind of, you know, put something in me that I want to be successful. The house was $300,000.
Right.
And me and my brother, bro, we wanted this house so bad. We cried to my dad and whatever. And, you know, it's $300,000. And he's like, I can't get it.
Right.
But when I win the lottery, I'm going to get it.
Right.
And then after that, then the houses just started growing. $3 million houses, $5 million. And we'll keep on looking at these mansions we couldn't afford.
Right.
So that was my first thing with real estate. And that's why she used to call me a dreamer. You're a dreamer just like your father.
Right.
I tell her for our anniversary, she has to get a dreamer tattoo on her ass. It says dreamer.
That ain't happening.
And she used to tell me, go drive a cab like your father. Like, no. And
I'm very abusive, though. It's true. It is true.
But you know, the funny thing is when I was looking for a house earlier this year, one of the houses was in Alpine I was trying to buy. And Caesar was like, I know that house. That's the house me and my dad was looking at when we were kids. He was like, it's big. It has a pool over here. It's this size. The family room is. He knew everything about the house. Like, I was like, have you ever been in the house? He's like, no, I just know everything about the house. There's an elevator here. Has everything. Like, he knew everything about the house. We didn't buy that house. But, you know, I just thought that was dope that you guys have fought and made sure you held each other down. I thought that was great. Now, another thing I want to talk to Jen about, nothing to do with houses, has to do with this cream I seen you using. Mm-hmm. Now, what is this cream that you use?
So it's a gel.
A gel.
Yeah. I put Caesar on it.
Mm-hmm.
I put my mom on it because I started to use it, and the first day I used it, I just noticed a difference instantly. So I used the gel at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Uh-huh.
And what it is HGH, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's an HGH gel. It goes on your skin. It's transdermal. It goes into your bloodstream. It metabolizes within 90 minutes. That's what I'm told. But I don't sleep.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the way I am. I go to sleep at 2. I wake up at 6. I don't take naps in between the day, like during the day.
Right.
I'm just like always, the mind always spinning. So that night, I got home, and as soon as I hit the bed, the brain shut down. Mm. And I went straight to bed.
Right.
9:30 at night. I couldn't even keep my eyes open. And then I said, this is something. So I bought a bottle for my mom.
Uh-huh.
I told my sister. I told you. Caesar was on it. Caesar's like, what this shit you got me on? I'm sleepy as hell. Right?
Yep.
But, I mean, I think it's an interesting thing. There's only one of these on the market right now.
Right.
There's only one. No other company makes it, just one company.
Uh-huh.
And it's Somaderm. And it's by New You Life. So I put a couple stories out on there to see if I get any feedback from anybody, but nobody really knows about it.
Right.
So when you sign up, you get a number. So the guy that signed me up, he's number 197, right? I'm number 202,000. Mm-hmm. So this guy's been doing this for 2 years.
Right.
So what he's doing is, it's like almost like drop ship. Like you recommend the product, people order it through your site, and then it gets shipped directly to them. Mm-hmm. So you don't ever have to hold the product. You don't have to buy inventory. So I was like, you know what? Let me mess around with this a little bit. But I saw his checks, and his checks were very interesting. So in 2 years, his checks are $15,000 a week.
Right.
I showed you $20,000 a week. But I mean, the product works. It does what it says it's gonna do.
Right.
So.
And I tried it. I've been trying it for the last 2 weeks because I wanted to try it before I told anybody about it. And it does pretty good. I mean, it gives me energy. Fellas, it will give you a boner. It will make sure your dick is hard like
I
Rottweiler.
wanted to keep that part out.
I'm just telling the truth. It will.
Yeah.
It will. It is. And it gives you energy. It's supposed to do a lot of other things, but I'm just, as it's happening to me, I'm just talking about it. It's supposed to be pretty safe. There's no side effects. And if you want more information, you could click the link in Jen's bio. All right. And give me your Instagram.
Before I give them my information, also something I notice is like my joints. Because I do hair, and I'm always hot water, cold water, blow dryer, and my hands don't hurt when I wake up.
Okay.
Yeah, that's another thing that I noticed just using it for a few weeks. So anybody who has like pains when they wake up, you know, that will definitely start to diminish. But yeah, my Instagram is JENNITIPS on Instagram. Jenny Tips.
All right.
I was about to give them my email.
Nah, but we appreciate you for joining us. And I wanted to talk about this couples in real estate and how you should support your spouse, because you never know. You know, it's to a point where you say, okay, you might not make it big, but if you give them that extra oomph and that extra push, and as you can see, it just didn't happen overnight. It wasn't one of those things where they flipped one house and made $1 million and now they're on. No, it took years and years and years. And we were out in the rain looking at properties today in nasty smelling homes. This one home had a pool. It had an 8-track in the wall, and it smelled like shit. But we were in there looking at it, and actually Caesar won that bid for $260,000. So stay with it, and we'll see you guys next week. I'm DJ Envy.
Flippin' NJ.
Thank you, Jenny Tips.
Thanks for having me, guys.